With Quin Snyder stepping down as head coach, it's looking like the Utah Jazz are about to be in a great free fall from the top of the league. But before we get on with the video, how about taking a quick pause to smash that like button while clicking subscribe so you don't miss any of my newest videos. Alright, let's get back to it. After Quin Snyder resigned on Sunday, June 5th, reports came out that the future of Donovan Mitchell was up in the air. That's right, Snyder quit on God's day. You know what that means? God is a Rudy Gobert hater and doesn't want to see the Jazz thrive. Which sucks because if Gobert can win a ring, then he's definitely Hall of Fame bound. I know all you haters are going to tell me I'm wrong, but in today's video, I want to move away from Gobert and focus more on the future of their superstar, D-Money Mitchell. I want to say that I made a video talking about the consequences of what's to come if Utah lost early on in the playoffs, which they did. So if you want to see if I was correct, then how about clicking that thingy in the top right and go watch. Alright, let's move on. Donovan has had chemistry issues with his co-star basically his entire tenure at Utah. And things got really tense between Gobert and Mitchell at the beginning of COVID. Because Gobert would say something along the lines of how COVID-19 wasn't anything to worry about and that the media was making a big deal out of nothing. And would double down on this take by touching all the microphones in the presser with his hands. And you wouldn't know it, but not more than a week later, Gobert was diagnosed with the exact thing he thought didn't exist, which was only the start of the end for the 2020 NBA season. And of course Donovan Mitchell was mad about this. I mean, who wouldn't be? Anyway, the first destination I have for Donovan Mitchell, if he chooses to leave the Jazz since they lost their head coach, would be for him to go to a bigger market who's craved a star for years. That's right, I have Mitchell heading straight to the Big Apple. I mean, who wouldn't want to go back home? All it would take is a few picks, a young prospect in either Cam Reddish or Obi Toppin, and bam, you got yourself a deal. And this leads into the fact that the Knicks could probably keep RJ Barrett, forming a nasty backcourt. And the next team I have in mind is also an Eastern Conference team who just made a deep playoff run only a few years ago. That's right, I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks. With Trae Young at the point and Clint Capella down low protecting the rim, Donovan would slide in nicely at the 2 spot. I mean, that's not even including the fact that John Collins will be at the 4. And this makes so much sense for Atlanta because they have a lot of average wing players that are all around the same kind of skill level, you know. So all they have to do is ship 1 or 2 of either Bogdanovic, Kevin Huerter, and DeAndre Hunter to the Jazz with a few picks for Mitchell. And the only downside I see to this is that if you consider the fact that Mitchell and Trae Young would make for a very weak backcourt defensively. But, you know, I mean, who cares about defense? The next team on the list of soon-to-be Donovan Mitchell suitors is Michael Jordan's team, because greatness recognizes greatness. That's right, the Charlotte Hornets are the team I believe to have a good chance at getting Utah's star. They have the assets to pull off a deal, and since LaMelo is a bigger guard, we don't need to worry too much about a weak defensive backcourt. And the package that Charlotte could offer for Mitchell may include the likes of Gordon Hayward for contract purposes, a few picks, and a young piece like Scary Terry or PJ Washington. And the only way this doesn't work out is that the fact that Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball are lined up for a big payday soon. So including Mitchell's contract, you kind of come across a bit of a salary cap issue. But since when has salary cap ever stopped an NBA team? And last, but definitely not least, I have Donovan Mitchell possibly ending up in Cleveland. next LeBron type beat, you know? And this would be quite literally what I believe to be the most perfect fit for the guy. Now, hear me out. Sure, Garland and Mitchell are a bit of an undersized backcourt, but if they start marking Evan Mobley and Jared Allen down low, then it'll probably even out the size on the court, because you make the big guys really big and the small guys small. Balances. Anyway, this works well because Cleveland could form a package of Sexton, LeVert, and a few picks to send to Utah, which means all the guys I just named will still be on the roster and available. That's not even including robbed sixth man of the year, Kevin Love. I mean, he should have had that over Hero, but whatever. Holy shit, guys. In the middle of this recording, I just got a source telling me that there's a good chance of Rudy Gobert going to Chicago. I mean, I didn't want to talk about that. I mean, he's so boring. Who wants to hear about that French man? But you know what? This kind of exciting. I mean, surely the package would include the likes of All-Star Nikola Vucevic for salary purposes, plus a young piece like Patrick Williams and a few picks. So if this trade does go down with the offseason looming, then what we are witnessing right now is the destruction of an NBA franchise. All because Quin Snyder wanted to retire, step away from the sport. That's whatever. Dumb. If you stayed this long, thanks, because that's actually sort of crazy. I mean, what are you still doing here? Like, I'm pretty sure the credits are rolling by now. Are you going to